Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
And I'm your co-host, Andria Carter.
And if you did not know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky area. How's it going, Andrea?
It's going fine, John. It has been an interesting week. A lot more rain in the
Yes.
forecast,
Yes.
a lot more heat in the forecast, because
Yeah.
my hair is just going to kaput with all this humidity. But again, it is August,
Right.
so but overall, it's just having a good time, enjoying the number of free concerts that Cincinnati has to offer, especially it's commonly jazz. They're devoting their entire season to women in jazz, and so far the last 2 weeks have been fabulous for its
Right.
commonly jazz. So I recommend everyone to get out there and you know get their just go and enjoy. The people love it. Everyone has their chairs or their picnic baskets, or just sitting on the bench with just a little food, or just meeting up with friends. I mean, you see so many people who haven't seen each other for a while, and everyone's hugging and holding and everything. So it's been a good week, um,
Yeah.
from a musical standpoint. Now, from a news standpoint, we have a little excitement, a lot of tragedy, a little disbelief, but overall, youthful joy. I think that's the best way to describe the chocolate news for this week.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much.
yeah, so we're going to get started. I think everyone knows the movie Blind Side,
Yeah.
the Michael Oher story. I mean, Sandra Bullock did a wonderful performance playing Mrs. Toomey, and being concerned about Michael, making sure Michael had everything. She was Mama Bear, all that type stuff. We know that story. If you have read the book, written by an author, where the movie was based on, things like that. Well, a little new drama based on that story. According to Michael Orr, the retired football star filed a lawsuit in Shelby County, Tennessee, knowing that the Tuohy family misled him, that they were not his adopted family, but they instead had a conservatorship of him, and they were able to make financial deals on his behalf, claiming, and he claims that they each of the Toomey family, except for him, were paid $225,000 and received 2.5% of the proceeds from the success of the film, and the film Blindside made over $300 million.
Yeah.
And there's a little back and forth right now over this. They claim Michael's been trying to push them in a negative light, trying to make money, off from what the success of Blind Side. He wrote his own book. He's on book tour right now for his book, and they're claiming that it's not true, that they love Michael and all this type of stuff. He's always trying to pull a scam, which has not been supported by several lawyers, but finally a lawyer has filed this lawsuit. It's kind of like, I don't know how the truth came out, or let me rephrase this, how the truth came out according to Michael about his adoption and the conservatorship and the money. The Toomeys claim they didn't make any money off the show, and that they shared money with Michael already. Michael claims no, they didn't. So it's a pretty much a he said she said story, which it's kind of sad, you
It
know,
really is.
because he looks like a good guy. He's overcome so many odds to achieve greatness with this help of his family, and it comes down to this. All I have to say is stay tuned. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah,
There's that.
it really is sad because it was such a feel-good story, especially when it's depicted in the movie. And even though I wasn't crazy about the Blind Side movie, it still left you, a little warm inside to say, "Oh, he succeeded. That's good for him." And but the fact that, they signed him to a conservatorship, I think that's what it was, is a little
Yes.
troubling because it made it seem like they adopted him. So that's already a little. a little sus, as the kids say these days. So I'm curious to see how this story turns out.
Yeah, because I mean, they claim that they couldn't adopt him at 18, but instead that they could get the conservatorship. So that way, and they claim because of that, he was able to get into the school and then go on to Old Miss and all this type of stuff. And I was like, well, he was already at the school when Mrs. Toomey discovered him.
Right.
And they, took over caring for him. And, even though he needed guidance and they helped him with with a tutor and everything like that, they did what any parent would do for their child. Again, when they were going to adopt him in the movie, I thought he was 17 years old, not 18.
Yeah, that's what made it seem like. That's why it's always called based on true story, I suppose.
Right. So I mean, I'm kind of like there's some iffy information about when they took over, when the paperwork was signed, and all this type of stuff. Because, in the movie it's portrayed that he was 17 when he went to their guardianship. At least according in to me, how the movie portrayed for me, he was 17 going on 18, and in there somewhere in there they adopted him.
Right.
So I think it's just a sad situation, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Um, I would say the next sort of tragic story, which is still unfolding, is the devastating wildfire that occurred on Maui in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And if people don't know, Hawaiian Islands are made up of several different islands.
Right.
And Maui is kind of like one of the main islands that people live on. And there was this wildfire due to lack of water and I guess the intensity of the wind and everything. It was a fast moving wildfire that ran through this one particular town and destroyed a lot of property. And as of right now, the death toll is now 106.
Oh my
They're
goodness.
expecting it to continue to grow as they go through and check each business, residence, homes, things like that. The According to news reports earlier today, roads have just opened up again to let people go in if they have a business or not to see what is still viable, what's not. It's kind of like it's a situation of where it's devastating. I mean, it's just I mean, how do you explain that? I mean, if you look at the pictures, it's unbelievable. The
Yeah.
devastation. It's like a war zone without a bomb.
Yeah.
And it's just devastating. I feel sorry for it, especially the people who were injured, the people who and the people are missing. They cannot find certain people. Like they were talking about, one news report was talking about there were 60 people missing from this, either a home or an apartment building. I can't remember which one they said, and they can't find anybody. It's quite sad because if you think about it, that wildfire, the intensity of the flames, depending on how hot it got, it could have destroyed a lot more than just homes and property. So, um, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services deployed a team of coroners, pathologists, and technicians to examine and along with exam tables, x-ray units, and other equipment to help identify victims and process remains so they can help identify people to let family members know, who survived, who hasn't. There are over 3,000 pets that have been injured or suffered severe burns, which is so sad. And a lot of animals, depending on the severity of the burns, to see how they're going to help them. And it's just a sad situation. The White House announced that President Biden and Mrs. Biden will be in Hawaii on Monday to see for themselves the devastation and talk with people. And so far, he has sent FEMA in whatever they need. They have the governor has been warning people the death toll is going to increase They're very fearful of what happened, but everyone is trying to see what's happening. And then they're now also the flip side of this is developers see opportunity, and there's going in and talking with people and start trying to get them to sell them their property so they can redevelop the area,
Mm,
which I think is you're not giving anyone time to assess what has occurred. They're not giving people time. At least that's according to one story. People who have suffered a severe loss, they're being bombarded by developers or would be property prospectors about remaking this area and what it could be like.
mm,
Which give them time to assess first, because it's
exactly.
mentally devastating to lose something like this. I mean, I know what my mother and we went through and our neighbors went through with that. They remember that flood in 2016.
Oh yeah, I sure do.
And I mean, the mental health of people, that was devastating. I can only imagine what these people on Maui are going through. I
Yeah.
just had water damage. They have totally lost everything. And all I can say is pray for the people, help as much as you can. There are a number of organizations giving money, giving time, donating items. So if you want to give, and just keep up with the situation, because these are our fellow Americans who need our help and our support to get through this devastation. Another interesting story is COVID is making a comeback.
Yay.
Yes. We everyone is feeling we're walking around without masks on. We're still using hand sanitizer. I carry masks still in my purse just in case I need to pull one out. But we're feeling the freedom of not being, restricted and being hampered. But viruses are still out there. The Omicron virus is still out there. For every one person who's been vaccinated, there are several people who have not been vaccinated. So there is a mutation of the Omicron. And unfortunately, the COVID-19 cases are on the rise. The hospitalization rates have jumped by 12.5% nationwide in July, according to the Center for the Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. The uptick comes even as the public health emergency has ended. We still need to be careful, especially for those who are older or who has an elderly parent. Take precautions. I know there are a lot of people out there who don't believe in vaccines. They think the vaccines have caused all these problems. I feel for them. I think, if vaccines were wrong, God would not have given a person the idea of how to create them. It's just another way of healing and prevention and preparing us, because there are bigger bugs out there that are coming. So we need to prepare and pay attention. I would just say that there is where is it? I wrote it down. What this is called. It's Omicron. Oh, it is the Omicron EG.5 variant of the Omicron version of the COVID-19. And it is circling around the world right now, has about 100 to 110 differences from the original version. So even if you do get a shot in the fall, a shot is coming in the fall to help update the last booster shot that you got. I would say get it. And, because we need the protection and we need to continue to be vigilant, because nobody wants to go through what we went before. And I would just say that take precautions.
Yeah.
We have a wonderful story up about this on our website. I think we've shared it on social media as well. And I would just say, as we keep up to date with it, we'll keep you up to date on it. And just take precautions and be careful, and go from there. Now, the juiciest chocolate news story of the day, I should say of the week, is the fourth indictment of our former president Donald Trump.
Ooh,
And
he's just
19
setting records.
it is and his 18 conspirators were indicted on racketeering charges in Georgia. It could lead to the maximum of 20 years in prison for each count. And Donald Trump alone is facing 13 counts in this indictment. There are over 150 acts that have taken place to prove that this actions taken on behalf to try to overturn the election in Georgia violated the rules of law or contributed to the group activity of these individuals to try and overturn the election in Georgia, so it would go more Donald Trump's way than, say, Joe Biden's way.
Right.
And it is it the 41 count indictment is amazing. It's you know, I just have to say this: the Fulton County District Attorney Fannie T. Willis. I've heard one press conference with her, and she's a bad sister. I mean, she is bad. I mean, when all this started to break, I was in a meeting and I just sort of glanced at the television set because I had the news on in the background. I was just like, okay, something's going on. And then it went from this to this, and then everyone started reading the indictments, and then she did a press conference the night that everything was released. And, she read her statement and said, this is rule of law. This is what happened. There are certain things in the indictment that add to the credibility of her charge. And the fact that, one person said, well, how are you going to play this out? She said, are you going to indict? Do you want to try all 19 together? And she said, yes, which I thought everyone's kind of like, you can't do 19, just the chaos alone of getting through, the interview of one one witness 19 times. It's like, so it's going to be interesting. Trump, he's been trying to disparage her and the whole process. And then during that press conference, there was a reporter who asked her point blank, is not this indictment politically motivated? And now you know how Black women are when you touch that nerve. And she gave that reporter that look like, I can't believe you just asked that question. You know that look like,
Yeah, I
how
know. Yeah.
stupid can you be? You know that look.
Yeah, I
All
know.
Black women have that look.
Yeah.
And she said, this is about the rule of law. Under my leadership, she said her office has issued over 12,000 indictments, and they have issued over 11 WICO indictments. And she says, we followed the same pattern. We follow the same steps of each time when we do a RICO charge. And, that just let you know, look, I've done 11 of these. What are you talking about? The fact that reporter has not done his homework about what her office has accomplished. And she's only been in office since 2021.
Really?
She's done 12,000 indictments and 11 RICO.
Wow.
Come on. And this is 2023. That says something about where she's looking to protect the citizens in Fulton County and who she's
Yeah.
going after. And basically, from what other people have said, that she doesn't play. When it comes to the rule of law, she may be a little aggressive, but at the end of the day, she produces
Yeah.
for the people of Fulton County. And in fact, even today, she filed a motion with the judge asking for a March start date for the trial against the 19 all the 19 conspirators.
Good.
So I think it's going to be interesting to start when they start seeing these people arrive to be charged, because they have until August 25th to be appear before the judge before they issued arrest warrants for these people, to bring these people in. And Mark Meadows, who's one of the indicted people and the former chief of staff for former President Donald Trump, he is already trying to get the case moved to federal court so he can try and get it dismissed. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. You played with the wrong person this time.
Yeah.
And I just think what also is interesting, of the 19 people charged, 2 of them are Black.
That is
Um,
interesting.
it is very interesting, and one is the a young woman from Chicago who is the former publicist for Kanye West,
Of course.
and she is associated with trying to allegedly strong arm two election officials into changing votes. And then the other, a black man who was indicted, supposedly he's in charge of the group Trump from Blacks for Trump.
Mm,
And I don't know what he did because I've not seen exactly what come out from this, but but that is what's going on. And so we'll see what happens because August 25th is D-Day, and I believe that's next week. Friday at
okay.
noon is the D-Day. So we'll see who's going to start coming in. It's kind of sad, but at the same time, when you do wrong, for every action, there's a reaction.
Yep.
And this is one heck of a reaction.
Yep.
So the final chocolate news of the day, and John, I'm going to let you take this one because you know more about it than I do. The new roller coaster at Kings Island.
Yeah. Well, just to let everyone know before I talk about this, I do work at Kings Island, so I just wanted to get that out of the way first. But anyway, so the Kings Island had made an announcement last week saying our next our new thing is coming. Stay tuned, and it turned out to be some people had pegged it to be a roller coaster. I did not think it was going to be a roller coaster, even though some people thought it was going to be, because Kings Island has had kind of like a trend. Like every 3 years, they would build a roller coaster. So, like in 2014, Banshee was announced as the next roller coaster. 2017, Mystic Timbers was the next roller coaster that premiered. In 2020, Orion was announced to be the next roller coaster. So we kind of had a roller coaster every 3 years, but I think due to the pandemic, that kind of threw that kind of schedule off. But this past year, we got a Adventureport. It's a nice little area. I like it. We got two new rides, Cargo Loco and Soul Spin, and they finally redid the Adventure Express, refurbished it, and I gotta say, I love me some Adventure Express. I really do. It's actually one of my favorite rides. I don't know about you, Andrea,
Really?
but yeah, I love the Adventure Express. It's a great mine train roller coaster.
Well, you know what? I have not been out to Kings Island in a long time. I'm gonna have to get out there. I have to make it a point to get out there and see what's new and exciting and walk around because it's been a long time since I've been out there. My days of riding a roller coaster are uh, um, a little behind me. Um, though I will ride the smaller ones. Um,
Yeah,
but I mean, from what I saw from the description for the Snoopy boxcar
yeah,
roller coaster, it's gonna wow some
yeah,
folks. I
yeah.
think it's that rush, that excitement, that scream factor because the girls are gonna scream,
Oh yeah,
and and just that the lump of the stomach goes up into your throat and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna throw up, oh my god, that
yeah,
rush down, and oh my god, we're gonna die, and of course you don't die, but
yeah,
all of that goes into the scare wow factor of any good roller coaster, and it looks
yeah,
like this one is gonna take it up another notch in a different way.
yeah.
So
Anyway, the roller coaster is called Snoopy Soapbox Racers, and it's going to be in the it's actually going to be in the expanded area of Planet Snoopy. And the expanded area is going to be called Camp Snoopy area. And actually, there are already Camp Snoopy areas in other Cedar Fair parks. So it's interesting to see how this is going to be like an expansion of the Planet Snoopy area, which which was actually like the top kids area for like so many years, like even 19 or 20 years, which is amazing. And it is a nice little area for kids. But yeah, and notable thing about that, it's not like a kid's roller coaster, it's a family roller coaster, and it actually goes like forward and backwards, which is rare for like a family roller coaster. So I think that was kind of neat.
well, I mean, the last thing you think about going backwards or forwards are either not trains, but kind of like simple back and forth motion. But really, what's that one ride where you sit in the ship and it swings back and forth?
Oh, Viking Fury. Yeah.
But yes, there's that. And then I think did the what was the roller coaster that they dismantled last year? The super roller
Uh,
coaster or the
Super
I
roller
f-
coaster. I'm
it
trying.
wasn't that super.
Well, I mean, they took down Vortex, but that never went
That's it.
backwards, though.
No, not Vortex, but I mean like it. There's another one. Maybe it was not Kings Island that had it, but it was a different. Maybe I'm thinking of a different park
Hmm.
that had one that goes up and down. And I mean, they're always trying to
Oh,
find rides that define gravity.
wait. Are you talking about the Top Thrill Dragster in Cedar Point? Because I'm kind
Yes,
of okay.
that's it.
Yeah. So that,
Okay.
yeah, I never got to ride that though, but they are making like another. It's just called Top Thrill Dragster 2.
Ooh,
So
ooh.
I guess it's going to go even taller and faster because right now, I think the fastest and tallest roller coaster in the world is Kingda Ka. I think it's not Kingdom Come. It's like Kingda Ka, like Kingda and then Ka, like Ka. But anyway, right? That's like a six. That's in the Six Flags park in New Jersey. But so I guess Cedar Fair is trying to say, yeah, we can build something bigger and faster and
Well,
taller.
I know for me, the what was it? The the last roller coaster that I rode was the tallest wooden roller coaster in Dallas, Texas. And I rode it during the day, then I rode it at night. And the reason why they said you ride it at night, you get a bigger thrill when you ride it at night, is because as the air cools, it cools down the wood of the roller coaster that makes it go faster.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Okay.
yes, and there was a picture of me squinting my eyes, going screaming my head off. So I mean, because it was tall. I mean, that first drop was like, oh my god, just. But anyway, so more power to them. I wish them luck. I can't wait to see it, an unveiling of
Yeah.
this new roller coaster to see how they're going to shock and awe everyone. So congratulations, Kings Island, and that's all the chocolate news for today.
Okay. Well, thank you, Andrea. Always appreciate the chocolate news. It's always very informative.
Well, I mean, it's always interesting to see what happens in the news each week. And it's always like we have some steady issues that every week we're mentioning. Trump is one of them, or 45, if you don't want to say Trump. But we haven't talked about COVID in a long time. We
Yeah.
haven't talked about roller coasters in a long time, Kings
Yeah.
Island, that thrill factor.
Right.
And, I mean, common everyday experiences that especially the young people love. Everyone's looking for that thrill, that excitement, that rush that's going to pump up your heart, that's going to make it exciting. If you're with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you want to grab onto them and hang on for dear life and enjoy some fun. It's death defying, but at the same time, it's safe. It's always interesting to hear all of that come out. And this week in the news, we had that. And I think it's going to be interesting. Maybe we should do a podcast from Kings Island next year.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great actually. So yeah, we'll definitely keep that in mind. Anyway, folks, you can find more information about today's topics and past podcast episodes at www.cincinnatiherald.com, the Sense newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. Our podcast is on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Amazon, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. In addition, the Cincinnati Herald is now accepting applications for an advertising representative. So please call or text our publisher, Walter White, at 513-680-7076 for more information. Oh, and one more thing. We finally passed 5,000 downloads. So thank you to all of our loyal listeners for listening to us over the past 2 years. It's greatly appreciated. We've been making this show since beginning of 2021. Yeah, beginning of 2021 because the
Has it been that
insurrection.
that
Yeah,
really?
yeah, insurrection was our first show. Yeah, because we had at the time council member Wendell Young, and we had Gwen McFarland, she's head of the Democratic
Party
party.
locally,
Yeah,
yes.
local.
The
Yeah,
Hamilton County
so
Democratic Party. Oh my God.
yeah,
It's been that long? Oh my God.
it's been that long. So I want to.
I mean, it's been so much fun to
Yeah,
do this. And, and every once in a while, we're trying to have more guests on, but being able to talk about the news and what's happening and give, a different perspective has always been so much fun to talk about it and go from there. So I'm looking forward to next week. So,
yep, me too. Well, I'm
okay.
John Alexander Reese,
And I'm Andrea Carter.
and have a good day.